Hi everyone, it's Keela here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for today's soap making video. Today we're going to go and make not only one of my favourite soaps to make, but one of my favourite types of soap to actually use, and that is a salt bar. Now I do mention at the end of this video about sharing the information on Patreon about some of the tips and tricks I've learned about making salt bars, as well as sharing the recipe that I use to make my salt bars, and that is on the soapy level and it will always be there. Now, at the time of filming it, I didn't realize I was going to be putting this video out at the end of the month. And if you do come and join Patreon, please keep in mind that you are charged when you join, and then you are charged again on the 1st of every month. So if you are joining on the 30th or 31st of the month, you are going to be charged close together over certain days. It's not something I can help, it is Patreon policy, so do keep that in mind. If you are wanting some more information about this post, just wait until the beginning of February before coming to join up. But with that being said, let's go and see how I make my pink Himalayan salt bar. Let's go. Okay, so we are ready to get into making this soap. I have got my oils in this bucket. It is a slightly different recipe to what I usually use. I have increased my coconut oil in this one just to counteract the amount of salt that we're going to be putting into this soap, so that we still get a really nice lather. I'm going to pour my lye water in here. I'm going to give it a little bit of a mix, and I'm going to split it up for a couple of colours. Okay, we are mixed up. Now the first colour I'm going to use, I'm going to do some pink colours. We're going to use a bit of Flower Girl from off of Nurture Soap, and we're going to fill up about halfway because we've got to add salt into this as well. I have got in this pot a little concoction that I made. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at that colour. I have used some cerise mica, and then I added in some Fandango neon mica as well. It's made this glorious pink colour. I'm going to go about that much. Might pour a little bit more into my pale pink, like so. Into my main bucket, I am going to put in some titanium dioxide, which has been dispersed in some water. And I've just also realised I forgot to put my kaolin clay in, so I'm going to put most of that in there. We'll put a bit in this one and in that one. I like the slip and slide that the kaolin clay gives to the soaps, especially when you've got one high in coconut oil, and then also having the salt in it as well will really add to the whole feel and texture. I'm going to have to give that a stick blend to make sure that that clay incorporates. So we'll get that one out of the way. We'll give this a mix. Gorgeous is that pink colour. I am loving that. I may have to do that concoction for another soap that I have got planned. Really liking that. Luckily for me, this recipe is also a nice slow moving one, so I've been able to make sure that that kaolin clay is well incorporated. I really should have added that in before mixing my oils, but we work with what we've got. I have got my fragrance oil. This is pink Himalayan salt from off of Ilux. I've had it for quite a while now, and I always originally got it so I could make a salt bar soap. I just never quite got round to kind of making it, mainly because it does actually call for a completely separate recipe to what goes into my melt tank, and I kind of never get round to setting the oils to making this one. But being a new year, I have the time, so I made it up. It smells really good. There is no other way to explain it other than it smells like sea salt. It's got a nice, clean, fresh smell, like you're standing down on the beach and all you can smell is seawater. It is beautiful. So hopefully it will behave well also. Going to get it all mixed in, and then we're going to add in our salt. Okay, so here is my salt mix. I have got a bit of a combination in here. I have got some fine pink Himalayan salt. I have in some super fine sea salt, and I also have one in here called flossy sea salt, and it's kind of a mix between the coarse sea salt and the fine. I'm just kind of splitting this up, making sure that this has got enough salt in it so that it actually saponifies at the same rate that this one does. Pour the rest in there. Gonna give it a mix in, and then we'll pour it into our mold. I am absolutely loving the colours in this. I am going to sprinkle just a little bit of this Himalayan salt on the top. This is a coarse grain one I've had. I actually got it from an organic store, and look at the beautiful colours in there. Usually when you buy the sea salt or the pink Himalayan salt from the supermarket, you don't get that sort of range of colour, but this one was just so gorgeous. When I saw it, I knew I had to buy it. I'm going to sprinkle it down what I'm kind of guessing is going to be around the middle of each of these bars. We'll see what happens when it comes time to cut it. I'm not going to put too much because it will pose issues when it comes time to cutting it with the other cutter. My mold's not quite full, so when I cut this one, they will be cut slightly wider, so we do get a full size bar from our luxury range. But that is looking perfect. Just give it a tap down, and that will help those bits of salt actually stick. So I'm going to leave this one sit. It's probably going to need to sit here for a couple of hours, then it will be nice and firm and we'll be able to cut it. You don't want to leave your salt bars too long to cut it, otherwise you just cannot cut them. So I'll go and put this one away. Alright, so we've got the pink Himalayan Salt Soap here. This is probably about 4.5 to 5 hours old. I can't remember exactly what time it was I actually made this. It is so lovely and warm to touch as well. I like warm things, so it is lovely and warm to touch. I have got my gloves on for this one because it is only about 4.5 to 5 hours old. This is not fully saponified, but because it's high in coconut and also has that salt content, this needs to be cut now, otherwise I don't stand a chance of cutting it later on. So it should be set up enough in there that we can start cutting it, but because it's not fully saponified, I have got my gloves on just to protect my hands. I'm using this awesome slab splitter that was sent to me. If you are interested in it, there are links in the description box below. Just met a bit of resistance there. Whoop, we're through that bit. Just push it out the way. I'll bring it back in just one moment. It's so lovely and warm inside, and it's looking gorgeous. Let's give you a sneaky peek on that side. while I run this side through, and then we're going to go and pop it onto the single bar cutter, and we're going to cut it into the bars. Alright, so we're going to set this one up so we've got 3cm bars. The best way I find to do this is I get a ruler where it starts at 0 on the very edge. What I do is I put it down to where I want my mark. So I've got my wire that is on here. I'll turn it around slightly so you can see. I put my wire so it's on that 3cm mark on my cutter, and I just gently butt the edge of my measure or my guide against the ruler, and I tighten it up, but I tighten it up just enough that it won't move too much, but so I can give it a little bit of a knock if I need to, because now what I'm going to do is bring it down here, make sure that we are completely level. I just needed to move it just a tiny bit, and now I can tighten it up, and I come back and make sure I'm still at that same level, and that makes sure that I have got nice even cuts. So let's go and get the bar. Okay, so I've got one of my loaves here. I've got it set the salt is actually facing me so that it doesn't drag through. Now I also know that these logs here are 32cm long, so I'm going to be able to cut off some nice hefty chunks for samples. So there'll be about 1cm chunks. Through we go. There's an end piece. I'm definitely just at the right time for cutting these. I can just feel them starting to crumble just a little bit as I'm cutting it. It really is a balancing act for doing these. If you are new to making salt bar soaps, I do highly recommend doing them in an actual mold before you start going into a loaf and then a slab, just so you actually get the feel of how quick they move and how quick they need a molding and things like that. But I am super happy with this one. Love the colors and love the look of that one. We've just got those few little grains on the top. Really happy with how this one has come together. I remember the first time I actually made a salt bar, it was a spa loaf that I did, and I was really pleased with how that one came out. But I'd read so many things about how it moves quickly, you got to move with your soap quick, you can't do anything pretty with them. But somehow I luckily managed to find myself a really nice slow moving recipe, or developed a slow moving recipe to do my salt bars, so I can usually get some nice sort of swirls and things going on there. I will be sharing my salt bar recipe over on Patreon. It will always be there. It will be at the I do a lot of the soapy sort of information at the $3 tier, so if you do want to know anything about how I make my salt bar soap, come on over and have a look there. And that recipe, as I said, that will always be available, so you don't need to worry about what time you are joining up. You may just have to do a little bit of a search when you arrive over on Patreon. So there is another one there. I am absolutely loving this. I can't believe I procrastinated for so long to make this soap, but I know that it's going to be a very popular soap because the salt bars always are, and I'm going to probably keep one for myself as well. I hope you have enjoyed coming along with me as I made my salt bar soap. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a great one, and I will see you then. Bye.